What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Struggle with Nadeska, Akademiks, and Wayno here, talking about the future of kids rapping. Wayno already has advice for his son when he tells him inevitably that he's about to be a rapper.
Oh man, I ain't work my ass off for my son to be a rapper, man.
I think you mean a failed rapper, because if he's lit, this is a different story.
Yo, it's tough, man. That shit is tough being like a rapper and your parent is in the game and all of that shit. Like that shit is.
Yeah, because you'll probably hear people tell the truth about your son. And
listen,
you want to protect him from that.
Listen, man, I didn't seen it firsthand. People send you their son shit. You be like, man, that's my man, but.
I met a bunch of rappers' sons recently.
Word?
Yeah, when I pulled up to the Barclays, I instantly met, it's either Redman or Method Man's son. The niggas just had the same, like, energy, like, aura.
Right.
He walked up to me mad aggressive. I didn't know we were going to, like, I was on some Tory Lanez shit, nigga. Is we apologizing? We scrapping? He was like, hey, yo, son. I'm like, whoa. And he's like, yo, I'm Meth's son. It's either Method Man or Redman. Look just like him.
Okay.
Just like a light-skinned version of him.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I rap, man. He was like mad aggressive. I'm like, okay, bro, okay. And I checked him out and I saw him later backstage, you know, he kind of cool, but, you know, like, we could probably start a topic because.
Thank you for teeing me up, Akademiks. Look, yesterday we were talking a lot about, we had a fan question about what are some of the mistakes you see rappers make very early in their career. So the guys are like, you know, be humble, like have good timing, all that kind of thing. But when you're a rapper's son, shit is extra difficult for you. So Fat Joe had a very honest conversation with his son on an episode of Growing Up Hip Hop about what it takes to be a rapper. Take a look.
They don't understand, man, it's actually harder for a successful rapper, his son or his daughter, to become successful in the hip hop game. It's almost impossible. All of them tried it.
Jaden Smith is, you know, he just performed at Coachella. You know, he had the biggest performance at Coachella, so.
Yeah,
and he's a rapper's kid, you know. Will Smith is a rapper.
You know that boy put out like 10 mixtapes, right, before he popped off.
His son was not. I feel like none of that was sinking in. But Jaden Smith is a rapper.
Hey, I was watching this whole video just now and I was like, yo, why does his mouth, his mouth like that? It's those fucking grills, yo. I don't know why we be having grills where you could barely, it feels like it was a struggle for him to close his mouth. But, I mean, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, you look at LeBron James said his only regret was naming his son LeBron James Jr. Because that expectation then falls on the kid. Like Michael Jordan Jr., people expected Michael Jordan Jr. to be amazing. He wasn't that good. Like, I mean, he became a better businessman than he was a ball player. But when you are a rapper or entertainer's kid, and you want to do the same shit, people have certain expectations of you because they look like, well, your dad was this good, you should at least be better than them, or you should at least be living up to the bar. That's why I don't be telling my kids to be better than me. Like,
yo, at least you're not a rapper though. So if your son wanted to be a rapper, it wouldn't be as hard as like being Fat Joe's son. In theory.
Yeah, that's hard to be. I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's like you have to come up from under that. Like he used Jaden Smith as an example. First of all, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like when people think of Will Smith, they don't think of rap initially. Like they don't think of him as a rapper, or they'll look at it like, oh, he's rapping. That's Will Smith's son rapping. Jaden was a successful fucking actor from the time he was like 4 years old, right? And I don't know if Fat Joe is right with the 10. It was probably like more like 5 mixtapes and a bunch of countless freestyles. But Jaden been working his ass off to get to that level. It didn't just like him being Will Smith's son didn't make anything happen for him. You know, because that shit also holds a stigma. Like, I'm not listening to that shit because that's Will Smith's son. Like, you know why you trying to hear that?
So is that the thing? It's like a mixture of expectations, but also you think they might just be getting shit handed to them, so you're less willing to give them a chance?
I think it's kind of a mixture of like two things. Like it's a lot of pressure, expectation and shit, but like also sometimes like a lot of times because you're in the shadow of your father, you feel since your closest relation to success is your pops, you feel you have to be them. And music changes so much. Like when I listen to King Combs, even now, it still sounds like Diddy. You feel me?
I mean, but his music that he makes like he raps exactly like Mace.
But it sounds from that era.
Yeah.
You feel me? And like that shit could be dated. You know what I mean? Like, if Fat Joe sons, like, here's the difference between, and I know we don't really look at Will as a rapper, but like, Jaden Smith came on some other shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like some other shit.
But it
you feel
still
me?
took a while for people to take him seriously in music.
It did.
Okay, but that's just the overall factor of just having success as a kid where the perception is that you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. So that's going to be for everybody, and really in any industry of entertainment where people are going to think that you're probably there just because of nepotism. So that's going to be there, but also it's like you can't walk too closely in your pop's shoes in terms of, I get it. They rapped, you want to be a rapper? You can't sound nothing like them. Your imagery can't be like, your shit got to be mad different.
Yeah,
I believe.
You got to come left.
Because a lot of times if you do the same thing, not only is it outdated, but then you're probably not gonna do it better than the person who did it first.
Right, like you see, like that show, ODB's son is on that show. He has his hair braided exactly like ODB. Like, it's like you can't, bro, like we already had that. Like, we don't want the same thing overdone. It's like you said, Will Smith, Jaden as an artist is the furthest thing from what Will Smith was. Will Smith was rapping in fucking 88 and he made Getting Jiggy With It and Wild Wild West and all of these different records. Jaden never made a record nothing near that. I think he probably don't even think shit like that is cool. Like,
Yeah.
I think it needs to be that far though.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't think you have to go that far. I think that you, like, for Fat Joe's son, I think that he could have success. It just, like, he can't have the same cadence and delivery as his dad. You know what I mean? Like, he can't have, he can probably, he's gonna look like him, that's his son, but he just can't have the same cadence and delivery and the same exact subject matter. Like, you can't have the same exact things that your father had. Like,
Your
You
life
shouldn't
is
have the
certainly
same
very
subject
different.
matter.
Yeah,
I would imagine that was struggling and hustling, and you over here flossing.
But a lot
Shining.
of artists, like, specifically like sons of artists, like how Diddy, like how, you know, King Combs, I don't think he's bad. I think he's actually talented. The problem is that he rapped like Mace. We had that 20-something years ago. He uses old samples from the 90s, and he's not bad, but it's just like, brother, you got all these new sounds you could be fucking with. We heard that already.
So are there any rappers' kids you guys think have very promising, like, long-term careers in rap?
I do. I mean, other than Jaden, and it was going to, like, really the third and last point I had about this is that, you know, if you introduce yourself or if you're seen in any light as someone's son, that's using nepotism. That, like, if you approach me and be like, yo, I'm so-and-so's son, you're trying to use nepotism for me to give you a listen, put you on a platform, something. Like that's what it is. Coi Leray, whatever.
Coi
Leray.
Benzino's daughter.
I had, like, most people had no idea that was Benzino's daughter till after her music started catching traction. It's different now. We don't really give two fucks about Benzino. And actually, we kind of realize that we're fucking with your music for you. You get me? Like, we're not just still in the stage of, oh, since your pops was musical, let's give your music some type of listen, which might be sometimes some pity shit. So I do think kind of separating yourself, not just being seen as, oh, I am the son of so-and-so.
So, Damani, T.I.'s son.
Oh, yeah.
But then also, you know who, all right, let me ask you this, just what we place expectations. Styles P son, how you think Styles P son would sound?
I mean, just
Knowing Styles P. All right, so Styles P son, Noah, like, while he is lyrical, his music is totally different than anything the Lox has ever done.
So it's perfect.
More in the realm of, like, creativity. I say more on, like, not Jaden's, like, production wise, but, like, if you heard it, you wouldn't think, oh, he was raised. Not that he wasn't raised, but it's like the furthest thing from Styles. But he's dope. He's really dope. So I think Noah and I think Damani too. You know, Damani, remember I picked the song.
Damani's
Yo,
dope.
he got that song is
yeah.
dope. Yo, he got some shit. We'll see.
yeah, like, I think that kid particular for T.I., like, he's been putting in work.
Yeah.
And I think it is about putting in work too. Yeah, you gotta, like,
You gotta
really.
stick with it, right? Because the Simmons clan, right? A couple of them tried.
Diggy had
but then-
a little
tried.
joint.
Yeah, but then no one kept going.
Diggy had a little run for a little while. I don't know why he fell back, and I think he's trying to now pop back in, but I don't know what up.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work for him.
Maybe he was too rich. I don't know. Fell back.
Let's see, the next rapper kid superstar. So Akon recently was on The Breakfast Club, and he sort of talked about artists on the come up, and he said basically he's been upset a lot of times that artists do not choose to live up to their full potential.
Have you ever been disappointed by an artist that you knew had so much potential, but they just weren't living
All
up
the
to
time. All the time.
I
Because
can
they be the
imagine.
most talented
Absolutely.
ones that just never understand.
it? Like, why don't they just work a little harder, do this,
Yeah.
get out here?
Just-
Sometimes people are in their own way, too, because
They in their own way. And most people actually believe that they don't have to do a lot of things because they're talented.
Right. It should just happen.
Or once you reach a certain height, like you get a crazy record and you're like, oh, I'm in, I'm good. That's where your work actually starts to begin, especially in hip hop, because hip hop, as y'all know, you really literally as good as your last record.
Right.
What's your saying here? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
Very true.
I mean, I agree with him. Like, the thing about potential is that you can't have potential forever. You know, like, a lot of people that we think are gonna be the next ones, it's up to them and their team and their personnel to, like, get their shit together. And a lot of people never live up to. I always blame a lot of that on money too, because a lot of artists that have potential, they start making money, and then, like, money gives comfort. You know what I mean? When you're not scrambling, figuring out how you gonna pay your bills, you start getting a little lackadaisical. You know what I mean? You start having less hunger. The hunger that got you the money, like, you should be even more hungry, you know, to get to the next, not the next bag, but get to the next pillar of success. And I think that shit holds a lot of artists back, but can't have potential forever. That shit dies out.
You always say at some point potential has to intersect with reality. You get me? You can't have potential like while you're 25 years in the game, but he has the potential to be the best, but right now he's just mediocre. So I agree with that, but I always look at just like rappers in the game in terms of how, like, you know, he said the work starts once you get on.
We'll get a hit record.
Once you get a hit record. Right. And I do think that most people, like, they get caught up in the hype of being a fresh face. Like if you look at, right now, Lil Tech is a fresh face. You don't got to do too much, really. Like, everybody's coming to him. Everything is kind of laid out. And actually, he is doing a good amount, too. But that's when you're doing it. After you're not the fresh face anymore, that everybody's interested in. Megan Thee Stallion, she's a fresh face too. That's why also
working her ass off though.
Yeah, but that's why I'm looking at Cardi B. Like, in terms of female rappers, Megan Thee Stallion right now is a fresh face. Cardi B was before. But now it's a little bit different when she shows, oh, yo, I performed on stage doing whatever. It's like, okay, we've seen that already. Like, it's not as new. It's not as like we're just flocking towards you. Yeah. So now you have to work to keep up that level that you've built up to or where you just came from. So, you know, I agree with him. Like, a lot of artists get pretty lazy.
Yeah, I mean, look at Lizzo, right? Like, Lizzo has the #1 record now, right? And it's a record that came out 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2017 record, which is crazy.
Exactly. So the whole thing about, like, with Lizzo is, like, she's very talented, but she worked her ass off. It's like, for a record that came out 2 years ago, you know how many people throw music away? Like, music is so disposable because everybody's, like, fishing. Let me just see what I could get. Let me see what I could get. And it doesn't catch. And then something catches. And I'm pretty sure that record that caught on was something that she didn't expect to happen. You know, so it's like, that's a combination of hard work and talent and potential. I'm pretty sure people saw the potential in her and just was like, all right, you got all of this, let's rework it. You know, because a lot of things come out and they never will work properly. You know, but that comes with learning the business, how Ak said yesterday. You know, just learning the business, having the right personnel, and then having humility. You know?
The money and comfort thing is interesting. I'm reading a lot of random books, so I can't remember which one I read this in, but there's a writer who was very successful. This is probably like 100 years ago. So in between every successful book he would publish, so he didn't get too comfortable, he would like gamble away all his money to the point of being broke. You know, obviously don't try this at home.
Right.
So then he would be literally on the brink of starvation, and that would force him to write another great novel, which is pretty amazing. So it doesn't apply just in rap, I'm saying, but people do take extreme measures to keep them motivated.
Absolutely. Shit, the first 100 bands I made, I thought I fucking made it. Like, what? I'm lit. Like, I thought it was like, and then I got humbled. For real, I got humbled by something. But it's like, you know, you got to keep working. Like, you don't let it be one thing. Every millionaire has is average 6 to 7 streams of income, you know, and everybody's not meant to reach that plateau, but it takes a lot to get there, you know.
Got to keep working.
Yeah.
All right, a little left turn here. Lonzo Ball was on Big Boy's Neighborhood. I think before, he was the one who made the list, right? We know that he's not a huge fan of Nas, so he went into detail here, saying he thinks he's good. He's obviously a legend, but he just doesn't think his music is really that great in his opinion. Take a look.
Let's really get into this. How many classic projects does he have? Honestly, because people be saying he's top 5, so.
You know what? I'm going to tell you this, bro.
Now we're going to change the subject.
No, we're not. To even ask that question.
For me,
I want to just know you. I want to know.
Disrespectful.
I just want to know, though.
Illmatic.
That's
for me.
one.
Yeah.
That's it.
Illmatic.
That's it.
Okay, give me Future. Give me Future.
Future has
You
put
better not
out
say
9
classic.
projects in a row. That's all hit.
It doesn't
You
have to
better not
always
say they're
be
classics.
quality.
Dirty Sprite 2 is one of the best albums
Have you
ever.
ever heard of quality
You
versus
can see Future
quantity?
at a real
6
street
Nights, one of
fest.
the best mixtapes ever.
Oh my
Like,
God.
what are we talking about here?
I'm not gonna even have this
Monster?
argument.
Like, come on,
Right.
man.
So, yo, all right. I want to go first real quick because, like, I'm not. While he is saying certain shit, I'm not knocking. I really can't knock Lonzo Ball, right? Mm-hmm. He wasn't even born when Illmatic came out. He's 21 years old. Mm-hmm. When Stillmatic came out, he was 3 years old. When Godson came out, he probably was like 5 or 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, Street Disciple, Hip Hop is Dead, he probably was like 9. When Nas made like the bulk of his career, everything he built, he wasn't even around for that. So I'm not gonna now how he's wording it.
That's what I'm saying. What about a person like Cordae? He wasn't like growing up through that era either. But there's a difference between saying I don't know, I don't care, versus saying like he's not that good.
I think there's a difference in where people grow up and how they grow up, right? Mm-hmm. So like in the midst of like his teenage years is when he's only 21. In the midst of 5 years ago, he was a teenager. Future is the biggest artist of his generation as a teenager, right? So I think he should word his shit a little bit different. Like, what classics do we have? Nas got tons of classics. Mm-hmm. But, like, I'm not knocking him that he grew up on Future. Like, I can't knock that because a kid that's 28 that was, like, Lil Wayne is they shit.
Yeah.
You can't tell them nothing about Lil Wayne. The same way you can't tell me nothing about a Jay-Z or a Biggie or even a Pac. So I'm not, like, or Nas, like, I'm not totally knocking what he said. He words it the way it sounds a little disrespectful, but that's his era that he growing up in.
Would you have taken a little bit more offense if he said Jay?
Nah. I wouldn't. Only because, bro, I love Nas just as much as I love a Jay.
Here's the funny thing. I don't believe that it's just because he's younger and he grew up, like, by the time he's 7, like, a lot of Nas's best work may have been out already. I personally think he's just not into that shit. Mm-hmm.
He's not.
And I think a lot of, the new generation, like, they're confident in saying it. Like, I'm not into it. Like, okay, I like it, I'm not knocking it. He even said, yeah, you're a legend, right? Mm-hmm. He's just saying, I enjoy this more. Mm-hmm. I think we just get into the conversation of what does better mean, right? Does it have to be a lyrical body of work? Does it have to be Illmatic? Or could you still have that same conversation about Future's project? Because really, the same conversation is going to continue into the future about Future, Young Thug,
absolutely.
Lil Uzi. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's kind of like a culture shift of at least the how the kids are seeing it. I don't know what people were talking about like in the early 90s, like, what their like favorite rappers or like which body of works they respected.
Yeah.
But I don't know if like 56 Nights and, Monster and Beast Mode, like that's what pretty much his list is.
I say like for myself, when I was a kid in the 90s, I say like when I became a teen in the 90s, like late 90s, I was big into the locks, right? I was big. So when people that was older than me were telling me about Rakim, not that I didn't disrespect Rakim, but Rakim's albums didn't mean the same thing that like the Locks album meant to me, or Jadakiss mean to me, or Styles P, or even Mace. Like that was what I was listening to when I was a teenager, like Illmatic or like Reasonable Doubt. I would never go on and say, nah, fuck Rakim. But I was like, man, to me, Rakim don't mean nothing to me to Jay-Z in 1996 when I'm 13 years old.
And that's normal. You can't be mad at that. I just wonder if as we go forward, it just gets more and more disrespectful and dismissive instead of just being like, I don't care about it, which is a little different.
I just want music platforms to stop interviewing niggas that ain't music niggas. Like he raps, but he's a basketball player. Why the fuck, like, why are you talking to him about rap? You know what I'm saying? Like he's a fucking ball player.
Salacious content.
Huh?
I think, this conversation definitely came about.
He's
probably
It was his list, right?
No, he made a list before, which a lot of people thought was ridiculous, but he wasn't joking. He was serious.
Yeah, but
Future was on his list. Mm-hmm. There was just other people. I forgot what his top 5 was, but very different than many traditional top 5 lists. I kind of agree with you. Like, I feel like
it was Wayne, Future, DMX, 50 Cent, and Pac.
He got DMX in there?
He had DMX 3.
That's his dad. Like, that gotta be his dad. Like, you know what I mean? His dad listening to DMX.
And that's how he grew up. I don't feel like it was disrespectful, but it could be taken as disrespectful because he put people on the spot. He said, all right, because he got his list ready.
Right.
You're asking him about his shit. He already know he gonna name 4 or 5 Future albums off the top.
Right.
He flips it on Big Boy and said, which Nas album you think classic?
Right.
Now, y'all name Illmatic and there's a little stumbling going on in the room and then a nigga throwing some shit. Yeah. So that's why it looks like that. Yeah. But I don't think he was like really like disrespectful to say, no, that shit is trash or, no, I think as time goes on, and I've said this before, people are gonna care more about like a certain generation is gonna care more about Drake than they do about Jay-Z. Actually, I argue that right now. They
already,
right?
Absolutely.
Later on, they might care about another rapper. It could be Uzi or someone who we don't know yet more than they care about Drake. Like, people are gonna be really time trapped within the generation they grow up with because the thing that's unique about music marks time so much. Like, you'll hear certain records or you'll hear certain albums and it reminds you of experiences and times within your life. Like, that alone means a lot more than records where I wasn't growing up in the 90s in New York, those records that was made by some of the greatest rappers ever really like lived with me.
Right. And I mean, the thing is like even, all right, down at like my son, like I play music for him. He don't like everything I grew up on. Like some shit, the way they music is now, that shit moves so fast. They subject matters about certain shit. It's high energy driven. When you play Nas, it not dumbs it down, but it slows because Nas makes you think. A lot of these kids ain't thinking. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these kids ain't thinking. That's what I'm saying. It's particular to also where he grew up at too.
Yeah,
you know
he does have a good mixture, right? Because that first list was the one he tweeted maybe in 2016 and people dug it up. And then he did the more recent one, which of course still had Future. So it was Future, Drake, 21, Quavo, Offset.
You know what though? Back to that, what he said about the basketball thing. I think what people, like a lot of people who are music people, you become elitist. And you start looking at music, and whether you say it or not, whether you degrade other music or not, you start grading it. So when you hear a Kendrick, it's like, oh shit, it's Kendrick. It's like one of the greatest musicians really of our time. But for the regular average folk who aren't like into music like that, like they just go off what the fuck they listen to. Like, I think Complex did it. They did it with Zion Williamson. They had him ask the rookie class of NBA players, one gotta go. It's Drake, Cole, Kendrick. Everybody said Kendrick gotta go. You're not fucking with it. Like everybody was like, Kendrick, we're not listening to Kendrick. And you gotta imagine for those kids who are like 18, 19, they don't listen to Kendrick like that. You get me? Now, again,
but there is 18. I think it's particular to what 18 and 19-year-old we're looking at because there are 18 and 19-year-olds that's listening to Kendrick. They're not playing back, like they're not the fucking #1 picks in the league. You know what I'm saying? They're not the top picks in the league. I don't think that Kendrick is not something you throw in the locker room. I mean, that's not what you throw. That Kendrick is not something that you throw on.
City, maybe.
Huh?
He said Mad City.
Yeah, I mean, that's one record, but Kendrick is not a artist or music that kids throw on to get hyped to play ball. He's another person that makes you think. He's another person that reflects and tells stories. That's not what a lot of the kids that's playing ball or listening to. So I can't knock that neither, but there's tons of kids. You go to Kendrick shows. I went to a Kendrick show in Madison Square Garden, the TDE tour. It was one of the most diverse shows I've ever seen. I seen an older white lady look like she was probably in her 50s in a wheelchair in the front row. I seen older black dudes, older white dudes, Spanish. I seen like a crazy diversity. So we can't gauge with Zion Williamson. Williamson fucking dunks the ball hard for money, bro. Like, that nigga's not a music. I'm not looking for him for his music opinion to tell me what's going on in the world.
That's fair. You need a bigger sample size to jump to those conclusions.
But you know, but if you're gonna discuss these with someone like Lonzo,
go to HSBCU and ask them same questions about Kendrick.
What Lonzo Ball says or anyone, like I know he's a basketball player. I look at him just as casual listeners. A casual listener of hip hop music are gonna have mixed lists. Not gonna be a bunch of lyricists on their shit. Like if you ask them what's their top 5, I'm pretty sure their top 5 might go something like Drake, Travis Scott, Young Thug, Uzi, and throw somebody else in there. And now, if you ask someone else who's listening to music critically, and also, like, you're really into rap, like, and I want to make it seem like you can't be really into rap if that was your list.
Yeah, but that's a big misconception too, because that's what Rhapsody was talking about. Remember how Rhapsody was like, well, because I rap a certain way, people think I don't like Cardi B or I don't like Nicki or I don't listen to that type of music. I don't like, but it's only for those people.
No, it's not listen to it, it's rank it highly. If you ask 99%, I'm willing to put $1,000 on it. 99 of rap critics right now, or people who are rap personalities, if you ask them for their top 5 lists right now,
and J. Cole ain't in it, they crazy. If Kendrick ain't in it, they crazy.
You could guess like at least 3 out of 5 of them.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying the casual, let's just like some of that
the
top
kids that's
3 or top 4.
All the playlists and shit.
They listen to whatever. So like again, you know, his lists only really look crazy when you think about how diverse his musical taste is. Yeah. He's listening to DMX, but Future too.
No, I'm not worried about his list. The nigga's a ball player, yo. Like, I'm not looking at him for no music opinions like
what
that.
What are the poli-sci majors listening to? They're definitely listening to
I'm gonna link up with Lonzo Ball. We're gonna make a playlist.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yo, could you imagine?
I want to see Damian Lillard's playlist, because Damian Lillard is a rapper, like, you know what I mean? Like,
a good one.
His
too. Playlist is your playlist. It's Clout Tokens. Why do you need to make
No. I think honestly, his playlist, like, he's taking the heat for it, but there's a lot of people who, I'm no cap. I'm talking to somebody who's like 19. Mm-hmm. He streams also on Twitch. And I was asking him about like albums and shit he enjoyed this year and like rappers he listens to. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna just disregard him just because he said stuff that I even question as, nigga, you just don't know music. I just have to chalk it up to, that's what your demographic or people like you are into. Like, for example, you know, I personally think Rick Ross dropped one of the hardest albums. He said, yo, listen to Rick Ross. Like those those albums and those artists feel dated to him. You know what I mean? But a little Tekka he loves. You get me? Now, that's easily to say, easy to say, bro, just, all right, man, you know what? You're out of the conversation. But these are the people who are gonna shape the conversation, make artists popular, drive drive music to whatever direction. You have to take into account.
I mean, the reason why, and I say this in closing, like the reason why I don't give kids too much flack is because while I'm 36, I never forgot what it's like to be 19. When you're 19, everybody treats you like you don't know shit with everything. You don't know anything about anything. So it's like for the same artists that today we revere as like the most classic or the dopest dudes, for the people that was listening to hip hop when it was really Grandmaster Flash and all of that shit, then I can't tell you what the most lit song was in 1982. I don't fucking know. I was born that year. I don't know what was the top record. But now these people are the most classic people, and nobody wanted to listen to me. They was like, oh, I'm not listening to that shit. I'm not listening to no fucking Jadakiss or the Locks. Who listens to that shit? DMX. I had older people tell me that shit, and now we revere them as the top people, so it's always gonna be that.
Yeah, although how long are some of these artists really gonna last anyway?
Right, that's another question.
A few of them are gonna be here 10 years from now. Some of them is just a couple songs. But anyway, moving on to Big Facts or BS. This one is courtesy of Ebro. He said North Carolina had the best year of any state in hip hop. J. Cole and Dreamville, Cordae, Rhapsody, Lil Brother, DaBaby. Although I think Cordae would technically claim Maryland, right? Didn't he move to Maryland? Or
he did, but his family's from NC. His family's from. Like I don't view him as. Yeah, he doesn't. I don't view him as an NC artist though. Like I mean, it's cool to throw him in there because his family's from there.
So let's take out Cordae.
I'm taking Cordae out of that one.
Yeah, the rest of the pool, though.
But I say big facts. You know what I mean? I say big facts. It's a dope year for North Carolina. I think North Carolina was looked at as was overlooked, and then as now South Carolina is trying to come up as well. Like it's a lot of markets that's coming up, but they definitely had a really dope year because they got a dope year on a lot of different sides. Like even though Baby can rap, people look at him as a more mainstream single-driven artist, and he could rap his ass off. Mm-hmm. But they definitely having a good year. I would also throw, small cities. I would throw Buffalo in there too with the whole Griselda camp. Like they having a great year musically. But yeah.
You trying to throw New York in this pool right now? We say Atlanta's had it forever, so I don't know if we could say.
New York doing the little thing.
But are we competing with North Carolina this year?
Well, here's the thing. I think depends on how you're viewing when he says hip hop. Because number one, at least according to Yachty and Uzi, Ebro with them old heads. So like when he say hip hop, he might be talking about like rappity rap.
Uzi said 25 is an old head. He's 25 now.
That is true.
So hey, listen.
Old head club. Fuck it.
Right.
But like, you know, if he's just talking about the year of, if this is a year of lyricists, which state like is holding it down?
Are we saying just lyricism though?
All right. If we're just saying overall, Florida, man. Florida been had this shit locked since 2 years. Florida got this shit locked, man.
So BS?
BS. I'm going with, if it's just overall,
Okay.
Florida got it locked.
Overall?
Who?
Florida got it
This
locked.
year?
Florida,
2019?
I'm saying Florida got it locked for new upcoming emerging artists, and they're almost neck and neck with Atlanta.
Well, wait,
and
wait,
Atlanta
this,
is like the beast.
But wait a second, he's saying this year, right?
2019.
So the thing about what I'm looking at is
I'm
this.
still going with Florida.
I'm not going with Florida only because it's like they have every type of artist in here. They got a diversity of artists. Just Dreamville alone, like with just the energy that they brought in 2019 where they was able to do
Damn,
records.
although, for being particular,
Well, yeah.
Dreamville is not all North Carolina. There's a lot of Atlanta rappers in there, like
It is-
Earth Gang and
yeah.
JID.
First of all, my favorite,
Well, I'm
my
looking
second
at-
favorite rapper is from Florida. YNW Melly.
course,
we
we
got,
know that.
you know, Pump, he did his thing in there. He's trying.
What?
Hold on, wait, hold on.
Stop.
Denzel Curry out of there.
Absolutely.
Hold on, I'm forgetting. Ski Mask, he dropped a good project. Like, listen, I ain't gonna lie,
Mask-
there's mad people bubbling
I'm
up.
not-
If you look at Florida,
Yeah.
and the only reason, like, since he regionalized it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at places where we're seeing, like, upcoming movements pop off.
Right.
And if you look in Florida, of course, you got the Broward movement. That's where
Yeah.
Kodak and people, you know, like
Absolutely.
Kodak from. But then you get these other areas where you see great music popping up from. I felt like it's been like 2-3 years in the works. I felt like they had a decent year this year. I'm still putting them over in North Carolina.
Well, I say with Florida, they do got a lot of great artists, but I'm talking about like on Florida, a lot of they shit, even though it might boom on streaming, it still seems a bit underground. So I say like,
Because you keep saying bubbling, but some of these people had like huge years.
yeah, like the baby is
year.
undisputed rookie of the year.
Right.
Like,
and you said
undisputed.
Cole
Wait,
probably
wait,
has it
wait,
for
wait,
2019,
wait.
didn't you?
So basically, we're talking about the baby and J. Cole. Like, okay,
We
cool.
just said Rhapsody put out one of the
Rhapsody
best
put out one of the
albums
best rap albums
of the
this year.
too,
That,
right?
that's,
I'm taking Cordae
I
out of
agree.
there.
I'm just saying, I see a bunch of more artists like bubbling up, and also we had some decent efforts in Florida. I'm going
Okay.
Florida still,
Okay.
and it still doesn't negate my point that Cole has had the best 2019. But like, I'm not gonna just put two artists and be like, here's a whole state, because Boogie. If that's the case, New York then.
give Drake
If that's the
whole
case,
country
let's
for
bring
one
New York
artist.
in
Hey,
it.
listen, we
A
got
Boogie
A-Boogie,
running this shit.
Cardi B and
A
A-Boogie.
Boogie's running this shit. Cardi B's running this shit. Lil TJ's putting up numbers with an EP.
Lil Tecca.
Pop Smoke just do a single
Lil
that got
Tecca.
everybody like shaking the earth. Lil Tecca, he got like the top 5 song in the country. New York is here then.
Akon's fighting for New York.
I'm just saying, like,
Okay.
if we going with that, I'm running for New York then. All right, New York.
Leave it to the New Yorkers, of course. This is how the conversation ends.
It's always LC and Ebro.
Shout out to North Carolina, though. Yeah. All right, big facts or BS. This one, courtesy of Meek Mill.
Axe favorite right now.
She tells you, I got a man, keep shooting your shot. Faithful girls don't reply. On God.
This is the first true statement ever. Like, there's
This
no.
is the first true statement you see me say.
No, I mean, like that. You don't have to add a but to it.
There's no debate.
There's no debate.
Wait, let's
This
talk
is
about
true.
this. So he's sliding in someone's DM. So if you respond at all,
If your girl is on Instagram and she's faithful to you, and people are sliding and shooting their shot, and she is even entertaining it to the point that she has to remind the other person she has a man, she is entertaining it to get to that point. She should ignore it.
She's not just being polite.
Polite?
I'm just asking questions here.
Polite is leaving them in the inbox.
It depends. Wait. Devil's advocate here. It
Don't
depends
do
on
it.
how she says it.
Don't do it.
Because if she says, I got a man, LOL, then it's...
Oh, yeah, you're right. The LOL. You're right.
If she says, I got a man, LOL.
Nah, sometimes the I got a man thing means if I ain't have a man.
Right.
It was lit.
It was lit.
Nah.
And it's still, but if I ain't have a man, it is lit. If that's there, there's still room for somebody to get in there.
Nah.
There's still room.
Meek been tweeting out a lot of these, like, it's kind of like cultural laws. Let's just say that, you know, like this is one of the first ones I could be like, there's no buts to this one.
This is so funny.
You don't think so?
Look, every once in a while I respond, I told you guys, like with like a couple heart emojis, and then I disappear.
Here's the thing though. I think he's talking about when somebody's shooting their shot. So if somebody DMs
Like
you,
aggressively-
I want you.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I want you, right? And they say that to you.
Yeah, you're right.
And you respond, I got a man.
LOL.
You're not telling him, yo, the worst thing to give a nigga is hope. That's facts. Never. You give him a slither of hope, he'll sit there. Don't do it. You can't do it.
He's right. He's right. I think the LOL fucks the whole shit up.
If you write LOL,
no, fuck that.
over.
Listen,
somebody so forward, you gotta say no.
Biggie has one of the greatest lines when it comes to stuff like this. He said, "Once she grins, I'm in. Game begins." so she's looking at, she's grinning. Once she grins, I'm in. Game begins.
Yeah, a smiley face is too much. Yeah,
Okay.
no. A heart? No way. Hell no.
2 heart emojis.
Nigga,
double up on the love.
You find your girl sending heart emojis to niggas who are basically shooting their shot.
Not if they're being aggressive though. If they just say something nice.
Like what? Like just entertain me. What could they say?
We're not getting into my DMs right now.
Do that.
All right, so Meek, big facts on that one, I suppose.
Meek, you're right, brother.
Big fact.
You're right.
Okay, we got.
Yo, you know, Meek Mill is like the new version of Reverend tweeting from the bathtub.
Okay.
That's fact. He be tweeting a lot of shit.
Wow.
Sometimes be like, but this one's facts.
Oh man.
Nigga Spirituals from the Bathtub by Meek Mill.
Nigga spirituals.
Do we have time for a fan question? Yeah, let's do it. Greetings to the cast and staff of Everyday Struggle. Thank you. It's a very nice greeting. Love what y'all do. Keep doing the good work. With SoundCloud not being as prevalent in the discovery of new artists today, what's the best way to gain attention online that's also free to access for fans? Because most people, at least the people I know, aren't willing to pay for music or music services.
Instagram, duh. Like, I mean, Instagram is like just, even though you can't post full-on songs there, like, you know, you can give previews, you could do IGTV.
Didn't Jaden roll out a whole project on IG?
Hell yeah, he wrote out a whole project on IG. I mean, I think it's, the thing about social media is the share. Like that sending that shit to somebody else is such a big thing, so you just gotta create content or create dope ways that's gonna carry the conversation. If it's like you ever see like a lot of Philly artists did this, where they kind of like they'll reenact like a murder scene, like they'll set it up like a murder scene and then they'll rap like from a perspective of what happened.
Seen that yesterday.
Exactly. So like you'll see that and that shit gets shared 100 times. The problem I always see with those guys is like it'd be dope if you did that as a music video, you know, as opposed to just doing that or have a song that goes with it. That's what I don't see happen. But the share ship is very big. So I think like, you know, IG is one of the biggest sources. YouTube.
No, I agree. I agree with both of those you just said. Pretty much, Instagram, like, however, and that's why you do see some people resort to like gimmicks and stuff, because if you get people to check out your page and they're exposed to your music, they're inclined to go check it out. The problem with SoundCloud these days is that, yes, it's less prevalent, but there's so much embed with labels at this point. You're not seeing as much organic shit float to the top.
Right.
So it used to be the space for, yo, I'm an indie rapper, or I'm a DJ that makes remixes or mixes, and your shit like is loved by the people, it bubbles up. The charts are controlled by, well, partially by label influences. And you see every day, like they're trying to stay afloat by signing deals with labels. So they're compromised a little bit. Honestly, I think like other than Instagram, you got to bring your shit to DSPs though. Like if you're one of those people, I think it's a dated philosophy of just throwing it on SoundCloud. Unless you can't get shit cleared, you should be putting on DSPs.
Well, I will say this. One of my good friends, right? His name is Shooter. He started,
Shooter?
Yeah, his name is Shooter. He started selling his album, and what he did was he didn't put it on Instagram. I mean, he didn't put it on any of the DSPs. He's like, yo, send me $25 and I'll send you the file to download. He's like doing it off of Cash App. He sold like fucking 700 copies the first week at $25
That nigga's
a
a
pop.
drug dealer. Nah, man.
Listen, I don't know anything about any drugs or anything like that.
Man.
What I'm saying is that he sold 20, like that was a different approach, but his album is actually selling. People are actually buying it direct from consumer, direct to consumer. He's selling it straight from the source. Like you get it straight from him. So that's a different way to get your music out there. I mean, if you believe in it that much, he believed in it that much for people to buy it for $25 and people are buying it.
Hey, that's one of the rare cases. I do feel like you got to take advantage of streaming because like, for example, Lil Tecca, doing really well. His album, the projection jumped up, should sell around 65,000, maybe even get to 70. Wow. He'll only have max 1,000 purchases. Remember when A Boogie was number one?
Like, because of I know what you mean.
He had 1,000 purchases. So, you know, it's like everything is stream-based and algorithm-based. And, you know, a lot of people are trying to figure out how to beat the algorithm, but it gets really complicated with that. And you got to take advantage of those little loopholes or, like, for example, that's why I think most things be acting up on Instagram.
Right.
Yo, if I get my Instagram lit and I say I have a music video associated with the bullshit that you're already tuned in for, or I have a song with it, why do you think that Blueface, like, turned a viral scandal, which was his mom came in his house, he had his 2 girlfriends there, they got in a fight, his mom started recording on Instagram Live to show his fans, like, yo, this is a guy who you guys support. He turned that into a song. Now you got to go check his music on Spotify to hear what he's saying about his mom.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what he's doing. Because, like I was saying about my man, like, the thing about it is, like, he made more money in 1 week than we had made if he'd have got a few million streams. You know,
that is true. What he's doing is tough to do, though.
It's tough to do. It's not easy.
And here's the thing. That's why I always respect Memphis artists.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, at least older artists to certain Southern artists to some extent. Like, they selling it from the trunk almost, you know what I mean? Like, they're, like, really direct to consumer.
Right.
And that's how you make the most money off music, but it's really hard to do. Like,
it's tough.
Your music is so valueless at this point.
Niggas
like,
throw it away all day.
You just said your man is telling somebody to give them $25. No lie, if I go back and ask all 700 of those people, half of them will probably say they got robbed. What you mean? I don't think a lot of people are willingly paying over $10 for music.
Well, he's selling the shit for $25 a pop, and people are buying it. And when he gets
is he popular already?
No, I mean he has a wave. Like, he has his own space. Like, he's not gonna be Little Tecca and none of that shit. He has his own wave, and the thing is like, he's sending them the album directly, so they just downloading all the files and then they have the album. Same way as if you would 20 years ago go in a store and buy a CD. But deluxe versions used to be the double album. Biggie's double album, that shit, man, Tupac double album shit was $20. You know
it's fun. Like,
depends on how much you value the artist.
Nah, but there's ways to do this. I'm pretty sure if you ever go down to Atlantic City, there's these niggas that just stay in the middle of the boardwalk.
Nigga, Atlantic City, fucking Times Square, they doing the same shit.
They did.
Yeah, nigga, you
they did that to me too. I'm like, nigga, I don't have. It's almost kind of like a stick of like, yo, you want to support, and honestly, you kind of do want to support because it's really a lot less of a dying breed. But it's like
you don't have anywhere to put a CD.
No, stop.
Yeah, you don't have nowhere to put a CD.
Yeah, at least a drive, a CD. No.
I don't even have nowhere to put. Like, my MacBook don't even got a USB drive on it.
Now, we were in Brooklyn yesterday shooting some stuff, and somebody actually rode up on a bicycle. I thought it was a ride-by. but seriously, he was mad aggressive how he was riding the bike.
Dumb.
And then he said he pulled out business cards with his Instagram, his Twitter, SoundCloud.
Okay.
And I really respect his effort. If I remember his name, I would give him a shout out today. Because he said, you know, me, I judge books by cover. Fuck it, blame me. I looked at him, I said, drug dealer. But he rode up and he said, he was mad nice in his presentation.
Yo, this guy.
I'm not gonna hide my biases. Like, no,
asshole.
gotta be. So he gave us I think a drive and a card, and he said, yo, please just subscribe to my YouTube. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers that I can monetize.
I respect that though.
I respect
versus
that
handing
shit.
me a damn
I forgot
CD.
if I remember his name.
All right, find
I'm gonna try to look it
and
up.
give him a shout out tomorrow.
He said he needs 200 more subscribers to get to 1,000.
Let's get him to 200. I'll subscribe.
For real, man. Low-key, I thought he was gonna rob us.
Akademiks, man.
Fucking
Yeah, all right,
so
look,
scary.
this next thing I'm just gonna say, and I don't even want you guys to comment because we spent so much time on it yesterday. So look, we said that Roc Nation and NFL, this partnership thing, that Meek Mill, Rhapsody, and Meghan Trainor are gonna perform in Chicago this week. So they're donating the money to 2 organizations that work with at-risk youth. They're called Better Boys Foundation and the Crushers Club. So there's an update for you. Let's keep it moving. No commentary, like I said. We're gonna end with
a good
this
thing,
story.
though. That's a
No,
good thing.
it is.
It's Illuminati based.
Okay, see,
The donation's good. I'll leave that there.
we are gonna end with this video of Kanye eating his airwax at a music festival.
That's not what he's doing. They're not gonna disrespect the musical legend like
What the fuck?
All right, Ak has a different take on this.
All right.
Ye was not eating his earwax.
Okay.
He was scratching his ear, then he was readjusting or taking out a piece of gum. That's what I got from the other Kanye stans who gave me the updated information. They said no. They said, Ak, don't post this and embarrass yourself. He's not eating his earwax. If he's eating his earwax, he would have went in, lumped it up, and then...
Ear to mouth is crazy, my nigga. Ear to mouth is crazy. Listen, ear to mouth, anything you do in here, when you go from here to here, that's crazy.
Is that worse than nose to mouth?
Or less nasty. I'm just saying, like, you didn't just see what he did. I don't know if he did earwax, but he grabbed something from in his ear and put his fingers in his mouth.
He just scratched his ear, then, you know...
Maybe that was a signal.
Gum out. Okay.
Maybe that was a signal for the shooters or something.
Nah,
all right, let's go. Let's go down. Let's go.
You guys can
Did
cut the
Kanye
lights
do
now.
anything right in your eyes?
Peace, y'all.
Hey guys, thank you for watching Everyday Struggle. We'll see you here tomorrow, same
Wayno
time.
eats his booger. Don't listen to this.